They thought breaking me would be easy. After all, I was already damaged goods. The sick wife, the unreliable mother, the family disappointment. But that's the thing about chronic illness. It teaches you how to endure, how to wait, how to strike when they least expect it. My name is Tabitha, and this is how I lost everything before I took it all back. The courtroom that day felt like a tomb. My joints ached from the latest autoimmune flare-up, but I forced myself to sit straight-backed in my chair as the judge cleared his throat. Given the evidence presented regarding the mother's medical condition and inability to provide consistent care. His words blurred together as I watched my ex-husband Jasper squeeze his new wife's hand. Lucille's perfectly manicured nails dug into his palm, her red lips curved in a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Primary custody is hereby awarded to the father with supervised visitation rights for the mother pending medical clearance. The room tilted. My lawyer touched my arm, saying something I couldn't hear over the roaring in my ears. Across the aisle, my own mother dabbed at non-existent tears with an embroidered handkerchief, playing the part of the concerned grandmother perfectly. "Mom?" Emerson's voice cracked. My 12-year-old daughter stood frozen between the wooden benches, her dark hair falling around her face like a curtain. "I don't understand." Jasper was already moving, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "Come on, sweetheart, we'll explain everything at home." "But I want to stay with Mom." She tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. "Emmy, please." My voice came out steadier than I felt. "It's okay, we'll figure this out." Lucille stepped forward, all concerned stepmother now that the judge was watching. "Emerson, honey, your mother needs time to focus on getting better. Remember what we talked about?" I saw the exact moment my daughter's resistance crumbled. They'd been working on her for months, planting seeds of doubt, whispering about how sick I was, how unreliable, how she deserved a normal family. "You did this." I locked eyes with my mother as they led Emmy away. "You testified against me, your own daughter." Rebecca's chin lifted. "We did what was best for Emerson. You can barely take care of yourself, Tabitha. Be reasonable." "Reasonable?" I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make my father flinch. "You told the court I was an unfit mother because I have lupus, because I'm divorced, because it looked bad for your country club friends to have a sick daughter raising a child alone." "That's enough." My father stepped forward, always ready to shield his wife. "You're making a scene." "Good." I stood up slowly, fighting the pain that radiated through my bones. "I hope everyone sees exactly what kind of people you are." Laurel, my best friend since college, appeared at my side. "Come on, Tabs, let's get out of here." I let her lead me toward the door, past the whispers and stares. Jasper caught my eye as I passed, that familiar smug smile playing at his lips. He thought he'd won. They all did. Later that night, I sat in Emmy's empty bedroom, running my fingers over her favourite stuffed rabbit, the one she'd forgotten in her hurry to pack. The house felt wrong without her laughter, her music, the constant teenage drama that used to drive me crazy, but now I'd give anything to hear again. My phone buzzed. A text from Laurel. "You okay?" I stared at the screen for a long moment before responding. "No, but I will be." Another buzz. "Want company? I've got wine and those terrible movies you love." "Not tonight, I need to think." "Don't do anything stupid, Tabs." I smiled despite myself. Nothing stupid, just planning. They all thought this was the end of the story, poor sick Tabitha finally put in her place. They'd take my daughter, my dignity, my place in the family, and expect me to fade away quietly. But they'd made one crucial mistake. They'd left me with nothing left to lose. I opened my laptop and created a new folder titled Evidence. Then I started making calls to my doctor, to Emmy's teachers, to the therapist I'd seen during the divorce. Every person who knew the real story, not the sanitized version Jasper and my parents had presented to the court. The pain in my joints was still there, a constant companion I'd learned to live with, but now it felt different, sharper, more purposeful, like a weapon being forged. They thought they'd buried me, but they didn't realize I was planting roots. This was just the beginning. Push through the pain, my physical therapist Sarah urged as I gritted my teeth through another set of exercises. Your body's stronger than you think. 3 months had passed since the custody hearing. 3 months of rebuilding myself piece by piece, like solving a puzzle someone had deliberately scattered. Good, Sarah nodded as I completed the set. You're making real progress, Tabitha. How's the morning stiffness? Better. I can get dressed without wanting to cry now. I managed a smile. The new medication seems to be working. And the stress levels? I thought of Emmy's empty room, the silence where her voice should be. I'm managing. After therapy, I met Laurel at our usual cafe. She was already there, laptop open, paralegal mode in full swing. You look stronger, she said, pushing a green smoothie toward me. Thanks. How's the surveillance going? Laurel glanced around before lowering her voice. You won't believe what I overheard yesterday. Lucille was here with her yoga friends, running her mouth as usual. My heart quickened. And? She was bragging about how they cleaned house, her exact words. Said you wouldn't last 2 years before giving up completely. Laurel's eyes blazed. I recorded every word. I pulled out my phone, adding a note to my growing documentation. Date, time, location. Already logged it. Julia says we need at least 6 months of solid evidence before we can petition for a review. Julius, my new lawyer, was a godsend. Unlike my previous counsel, he understood this wasn't just about custody. It was about exposing a systematic campaign of character assassination. My phone buzzed. A text from Emmy. Mum, can I call you tonight? My fingers trembled as I typed, Of course, sweetheart, any time. Don't get your hopes up, Laurel warned gently. Remember last time. Last time, Jasper had accidentally scheduled a family dinner during our planned call. Emmy had texted a brief apology hours later. I know. I took a deep breath. But I have to try. That evening, I waited by the phone. At exactly 7:30 it rang. Mom? Emmy's voice sounded smaller somehow. Hi, baby. How are you? Okay, Dad says I can talk for 15 minutes. I swallowed hard. How's school? Fine. Lucille's helping me with math now. She says... Emmy hesitated. What does she say? Nothing. Never mind. A pause. Mum, why didn't you fight harder? For me? The question hit like a physical blow. Emmy, I did fight. I'm still fighting. Don't believe everything they... Time's up, Lucille's voice cut through the background. Say goodbye, Emerson. Bye, Mum. The line went dead before I could respond. I sat there, phone clutched to my chest, until Laurel let herself in with her spare key. One look at my face and she knew. They're poisoning her against me, I whispered. Then we'll get proof. Laurel opened her bag, pulling out a small recording device. Next time they try to manipulate a conversation, we'll be ready. The next morning, I had a scheduled parent-teacher conference at Emmy's school. Jasper was there, of course, playing the devoted father role perfectly. Emerson's been a bit withdrawn lately, Mrs. Peterson noted, glancing between us. Is everything okay at home? She's adjusting, Jasper said smoothly. It's been hard with her mother's situation. My situation? I kept my voice level, phone recording in my pocket. You mean my documented medical condition that's now under control? Tabitha, please, we're here about Emmy. Yes, we are. So let's talk about why she's withdrawn. Could it be because she's being isolated from her mother? Because she's being told lies about my ability to care for her? Mrs. Peterson shifted uncomfortably. Perhaps we should schedule separate conferences. That won't be necessary, Jasper stood, straightening his tie. We're done here. And Tabitha, keep this up, and I'll have my lawyer contact you about harassment. I waited until he left before turning to Mrs. Peterson. If you notice anything at all, please let me know. She hesitated, then nodded slightly. Outside, I played back the recording. Jasper's threat was clear as day, another piece of evidence for my growing file. My phone buzzed with a text from Laurel. Coffee shop, now, you need to hear this. I smiled grimly. The fire they'd kindled thinking they'd destroy me was about to become their own personal inferno. They just didn't know it yet. The school hallway felt endless as I walked toward Emmy's winter concert. Parents lined the walls, their whispers following me like shadows. I'd fought for the right to attend these events, but sometimes the victory felt hollow. "Oh my God, that's her," one mother muttered to another. "I heard she's on drugs." "No, it's some mental thing. That's why they took her daughter." I kept walking, head high, phone recording in my pocket. Every whisper, every lie was ammunition now. The auditorium was packed. I spotted Emmy in the third row with the other seventh graders, her dark hair pulled back in a neat braid, Lucille's handiwork, no doubt. She didn't look my way. "Seats taken," Lucille said sweetly when I approached their row. She'd spread her designer purse across the empty chair. "Actually," I pulled out my phone, displaying the court order, "I have a legal right to attend all school functions. Would you like me to call Julius to confirm?" She moved her purse, lips tight. Jasper wasn't here, probably working late again. The concert began. Emmy's violin solo was perfect, each note precise and emotionless, nothing like the joyful chaos of her practice sessions at home where wrong notes would dissolve into giggles. Afterward, I waited by the punch table, hoping for just a moment with my daughter. "Mom?" Emmy appeared suddenly, glancing nervously over her shoulder. "You came?" "Of course I did. You were amazing. Thanks." She fidgeted with her sleeve. "I found something yesterday in Dad's office." Before she could continue, Lucille materialized. "Emerson, your father's waiting in the car. Say goodbye." Emmy's shoulders slumped. "Bye, Mum." I watched them leave, noting how Lucille's hand gripped Emmy's arm just a little too tight. The next morning, my phone lit up with an anonymous email. Inside was a photo of a bruise on a child's wrist, shaped like fingers. The message read, "Thought you should know. Concerned teacher." My hands shook as I forwarded it to Julius. "We need more," he said when I called. "One photo isn't enough, but keep documenting everything." That afternoon, I ran into Emmy's best friend Zoe at the grocery store. "Mrs. Tabitha!" She looked around furtively before approaching. "Emmy wanted me to give you this." She pressed a crumpled photo into my hand before hurrying away. It was an old family picture. Emmy and me at the beach, both laughing as waves crashed around us. On the back, Emmy had written, "I remember." My vision blurred with tears. "Tabs?" Laurel's voice came from behind me. "What's wrong?" I showed her the photo. "They're trying to erase me, Laurel, making her forget who I really am." "Then we'll remind her." Laurel squeezed my arm. "Come on, I have something to show you." At her apartment, she pulled up Lucille's private Instagram account on her computer. "Watch this." The video showed Lucille talking to her phone camera, all perfectly styled concern. Dealing with a high-conflict ex is so hard on the children. That's why it's important to protect them from negative influences. Sometimes that means limiting contact. "She's admitting to parental alienation," I breathed. "On social media? Keep watching. And if they ask questions about the other parent, just redirect. Tell them it's not healthy to dwell on the past. Eventually, they'll stop asking." I felt sick. "How did you get this?" "One of her followers works at my firm. She's been sending me screenshots for weeks." My phone buzzed, another anonymous email. This time it was a series of text messages between Jasper and Lucille, accidentally screen captured by Emmy and sent to her teacher's school email. Lucille: "She's asking questions again about her mother." Jasper: "Handle it, whatever it takes." Lucille: "Already on it. Trust me, she won't want to see Tabitha once I'm done." The timestamp was from yesterday. "They're getting sloppy," Laurel noted, reading over my shoulder. "Getting too confident." "Good." I saved everything to my evidence folder. Let them think they've won. Let them think I'm just the ghost mother they can erase. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Emmy's bruised wrist, hearing Lucille's carefully crafted words about protection and negative influences. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "Mum, I'm scared." Then immediately, "Wrong number, sorry." But I knew it was Emmy. I forwarded the exchange to Julius with shaking hands, adding it to our growing arsenal. They thought they could break me by making me disappear. Instead, they were giving me exactly what I needed to destroy them. The ghost mother was about to become their worst nightmare. "They filed a restraining order against you this morning," Julius announced, spreading papers across his desk. "Claiming you're mentally unstable and harassing them." I laughed, actually laughed. Perfect timing, show them what we found. Julius pulled out a thick folder. "Financial affidavits from the original custody hearing. Notice anything strange about the dates?" I leaned forward, studying the documents. "These bank statements, they're from before our divorce, when Jasper was still hiding money in his private account." "Exactly. He submitted outdated financial records to make his income look lower. That's fraud." Julius's eyes gleamed. "And there's more. Lucille's therapy license." "What about it?" "She's been counselling Emmy, officially on paper as her therapist. But that's—" I sat up straighter. "That's illegal. She can't provide therapy to her own stepdaughter. And she's billing insurance for it." Julius smiled grimly. "They're getting sloppy, Tabitha, making mistakes." My phone buzzed. Laurel calling. "Turn on Channel 7 News now!" Julius flipped on his office TV. There was Lucille, perfectly poised in front of cameras, tears glistening. "We're just so worried about Emerson's safety," she was saying. "Her mother's erratic behaviour, the constant stalking." "Stalking?" I sputtered. "I haven't even—" "Shh." Julius held up a hand. "Let her talk." "We've had to file for protection," Lucille continued. "It breaks our hearts, but Emerson's well-being has to come first." The camera panned to Emmy, standing awkwardly beside her. The bruise on her wrist was clearly visible. "Stop the recording," I told Julius. He did. "They just handed us reasonable doubt," he said quietly. "That bruise? The one they're claiming came from you? There's time-stamped evidence showing Lucille grabbed her at the concert." My phone buzzed again, an email from Emmy's school counsellor. "Mrs. Tabitha, I need to speak with you, privately. It's important." An hour later, I sat in the counsellor's office. Mrs. Rivera looked nervous. "What I'm about to tell you could cost me my job," she began, "but I can't stay silent anymore. Emerson's been coming to me, telling me things." "What things?" "About being told to lie, about Lucille hurting her when she asks about you, about her father." Mrs. Rivera swallowed hard. "About her father telling her if she doesn't play along, they'll make sure she never sees you again." My hands clenched. "Will you make a statement?" "Yes, I've already documented everything. Dates, times, specific incidents." She handed me a sealed envelope. "This is a copy. I'm keeping the original in my personal files. Back at Julius's office, we reviewed everything. The fraudulent financial documents, the illegal therapy billing, the school counsellor's statement, the bruise photos with timestamps." "It's time," Julius said. "We have enough to request an emergency hearing." "Wait." I pulled out my phone, showing him the latest text from Emmy. "Dad and Lucille fighting about money. She says Mum's ruining everything. Dad threw something." "Document it," Julius instructed. "Every text, every call, every incident." That evening, Laurel called with more news. "Remember that tip to social services they tried to pin on you? I traced the IP address. It came from Lucille's work computer." "Can you prove it?" "Already did. Got the tech records right here." I was adding this to our evidence file when my mother called. I almost didn't answer. "Tabitha?" Her voice was tight. "What are you doing?" "What do you mean, Mother?" "These allegations, this vendetta against Jasper and Lucille. It's embarrassing." "Embarrassing?" I kept my voice level. "Like having a sick daughter was embarrassing?" "We did what was best for everyone." "No, you did what was best for your reputation, and now you're worried because the truth is coming out. If you continue this," she paused, "you'll regret it. Is that a threat, Mother? Because I'm recording this call. She hung up. Minutes later, Jasper called. Call off your attack dog, lawyer, or I swear. Or what, Jasper? You'll hit me like you hit that wall near Emmy last night. Silence. Then, how did you... I know everything, Jasper. Every lie, every manipulation, every illegal move you and Lucille made. And soon everyone else will too. You've lost your mind, he snarled. No one will believe you. Check your email. I just sent you a preview of what we're presenting to the judge tomorrow. Sleep well. I ended the call and looked at Laurel, who'd been recording the whole thing. That's another one for the record, she said, with satisfaction. My phone lit up with a text from Julius. Emergency hearing granted. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. It's time. I smiled. They thought filing a restraining order would silence me. Instead, they'd just given me the perfect stage for their undoing. The supervised visitation centre smelled like disinfectant and broken dreams. I sat in the sterile meeting room, hands folded in my lap, waiting. The door opened. "Mom!" Emmy rushed in, ignoring the supervisor's reminder to walk. She threw herself into my arms, and for a moment everything else disappeared. "Hi, baby." I held her tight, breathing in the familiar scent of her strawberry shampoo. "I've missed you so much." "Me too." She pulled back, glancing at the supervisor before lowering her voice. "Lucille's really mad. She keeps saying you're trying to destroy our family." "Emmy?" I chose my words carefully, aware of the supervisor taking notes. "You know I only want what's best for you, right?" She nodded, then reached into her pocket. I took pictures of the bruises, and I recorded some stuff on my phone, but Dad caught me and took it. My heart clenched. "Did he hurt you?" "No, but..." She rolled up her sleeve slightly. Fresh marks circled her wrist. "Lucille said I was being ungrateful." The supervisor cleared her throat. "Emerson, would you like to tell me about those marks?" Emmy froze. I could see the familiar fear in her eyes, the result of months of conditioning. "It's okay," I said softly. "Tell the truth. Lucille grabbed me because I wouldn't delete Mum's number from my phone." Emmy's voice strengthened. She said if I told anyone, they'd make sure I never saw Mum again. The supervisor was writing rapidly now. "And Dad?" Emmy continued. "He just watched. He always just watches." After the visit, I met Julius in his office. The supervisor's report was already on his desk. "This changes everything," he said, scanning the document. "Physical abuse documented by a court-appointed supervisor. They can't sweep this under the rug." My phone buzzed. Laurel calling. "Turn on your computer, now. You need to see Lucille's latest social media meltdown." I opened the link Laurel sent. There was Lucille, mascara smeared, ranting on Instagram Live. "She's poisoning my stepdaughter against me after everything we've done to provide a stable home." "Keep watching," Laurel urged. "I had to discipline her," Lucille continued, voice rising. "Sometimes physical correction is necessary when a child is being manipulated by an unstable parent." "She just admitted to abuse," Julius said, recording the stream, "on social media." "There's more," Laurel added. "Check your email." I opened it to find screenshots from Lucille's private messages to her friend. "Had to get rough with the brat today. She's just like her mother. Needs to learn her place." My hands shook with rage. "How did you get these?" "Remember that friend of mine who works IT? Lucille's been using her work computer for everything, Tabitha." Julius was already dialing the court. "We need an emergency protective order, now." The next morning, I arrived at the courthouse to find my mother waiting. "Stop this," she hissed. "You're making things worse." "Worse than letting my daughter be abused? Worse than watching her get hurt while her grandmother looks the other way?" "You don't understand." "No, Mother, you don't understand. This isn't about you anymore. It's about Emmy." Inside the courtroom, Jasper and Lucille sat with their lawyer, looking less polished than usual. Emmy sat with a court-appointed guardian ad litem who was reviewing the supervisor's report. Your Honour, Julius began, we have evidence of ongoing physical abuse, witness testimony, and the respondent's own social media admissions. Objection! Jasper's lawyer jumped up. These allegations are baseless. Overruled, the judge cut in, reviewing the Instagram video. Mrs. Harris Fox, did you make these statements? Lucille's face crumpled. I was emotional. She drives me crazy sometimes. By she, do you mean your 12-year-old stepdaughter? The guardian ad litem stood. Your Honour, given the evidence of abuse and the minor's own testimony, I recommend immediate temporary custody be granted to the mother, pending full investigation. I watched Jasper's face turn purple. Lucille began to cry. So ordered, the judge declared. Additionally, I'm ordering a full custody re-evaluation and psychological assessments for all parties. Emmy looked at me across the courtroom, a small smile breaking through her fear. The judge wasn't finished. And given the evidence of potential criminal conduct, I'm referring this matter to the district attorney's office. My mother got up and left, her heels clicking on the marble floor. Later, helping Emmy pack her things at Jasper's house under supervision, I found her old phone hidden in a sock drawer, the one they'd taken away. I knew you'd find it, Emmy whispered. There's more recordings on there of everything. I hugged her close, feeling her finally relax in my arms. The castle they'd built on lies was crumbling, and this time Emmy would be safe when it fell. The doorbell rang at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. Emmy was still asleep upstairs, exhausted from her first week back home. I opened the door to find my mother standing there, perfectly coiffed as always. We need to talk, she said, brushing past me into the house. By all means, come in. I closed the door, noting how she surveyed the living room, probably looking for signs of my supposed instability. The family is very concerned, she began, perching on the edge of the sofa. This vendetta of yours is causing quite a stir at the club. The club? I laughed. Emmy was being abused, and you're worried about country club gossip? Don't be dramatic, she waved her hand dismissively. Children need discipline. In my day. In your day, you let Dad break my spirit because it was easier than standing up to him. The words came out before I could stop them. Her face tightened. I came here to offer you a deal. A deal? Drop the criminal charges against Jasper and Lucille. We'll arrange joint custody, very generous terms. The family will welcome you back. I pulled out my phone and hit record. And why would you want that? Because this scandal is destroying everything we've built. Our reputation, our standing in the community. She leaned forward. We just didn't want to deal with the stigma of you being sick and single. It reflected poorly on us. Say that again, Mother, about the stigma. She froze, finally noticing my phone. You're recording this? Just like I recorded Lucille admitting to abuse, just like Emmy recorded Jasper threatening her. We have quite a collection of family memories now. You vindictive little... Mom? Emmy stood in the doorway, hair tousled from sleep. Grandma? My mother switched instantly to her public face. Emerson, darling, come give Grandma a hug. Emmy didn't move. I heard you, about Mom being sick, making you look bad. Sweetheart, you don't understand adult matters. I understand everything. Emmy's voice was steady. I understand you let them hurt me because you were embarrassed by Mom. No one hurt you. This is exactly the kind of manipulation your father warned us about. Get out. I stood up. Now. You'll regret this, my mother hissed, gathering her purse. Both of you. After she left, Emmy curled up next to me on the couch. Are you okay, Mom? Shouldn't I be asking you that? I'm okay now. She pulled out her old phone. Want to hear something? She played a recording. Jasper's voice filled the room. Just tell the court your mother's too sick to take care of you. If you don't, Lucille will make sure you regret it. When was this? I asked softly. Right before the first custody hearing. I have more. She scrolled through files. Lucille talking about how to make you look crazy. Dad telling his lawyer to lie about money. Grandma... My phone buzzed. Julius calling. Tabitha, the DA wants to meet. They've reviewed Emmy's recordings. All of them? every single one, and they're particularly interested in the financial fraud angle. Seems Jasper's been hiding money for years. Later that afternoon, I sat in the district attorney's office while she reviewed the evidence. "This is quite comprehensive," she said, looking up from her laptop. "The recordings, the financial documents, the social media admissions, and now your mother's statement about the family's motivations. Will it be enough? For criminal charges? Absolutely. Financial fraud, child abuse, perjury." She closed her laptop. "They won't be able to buy their way out of this one." My phone lit up with texts. Laurel. "Lucille just got suspended from her therapy practice pending investigation." Julius. "Judge ordered full custody hearing next week. All parties must attend." And then, most surprisingly, from my father. "Your mother isn't telling the whole truth. I have something you need to see." I showed the DA the messages. She nodded. "The more evidence, the better. This isn't just about custody anymore. This is about systematic abuse of power and privilege." That evening, Emmy and I made dinner together, something we hadn't done in months. As she chopped vegetables, she asked, "What happens next?" "Next, we tell the truth, all of it, in court." "Will Dad go to jail?" I paused, choosing my words carefully. "He might, and Lucille too. They made very bad choices." "Good!" Emmy's voice was firm. "They deserve it." My phone buzzed one last time. A text from an unknown number. "This is your last chance to back down. Think about what you're doing to this family." I showed Emmy the message. Together, we blocked the number. They still thought they could threaten us into silence, but they didn't understand. We weren't victims anymore. We were witnesses, and next week everyone would hear our testimony. The truth was coming for them all. The courtroom was packed. Jasper and Lucille sat with their lawyers, both looking significantly less polished than usual. My parents occupied the back row, my father fidgeting with his tie, while my mother stared straight ahead. Julius touched my arm. "Ready?" I nodded, watching Emmy enter with her guardian ad litem. She looked so small in her navy dress, but her chin was high. "All rise," the bailiff called. The judge settled into her chair, reviewing the thick file before her. "Given the severity of the allegations and new evidence, this hearing will address both custody and criminal matters. Mr. Armstrong, you may proceed." Julius stood. "Your Honour, we'll demonstrate a pattern of abuse, fraud and conspiracy that goes beyond simple custody issues. First, I'd like to play Exhibit A." The courtroom speakers crackled to life with Lucille's voice. "Hold still, you little brat!" The sound of a slap. Emmy crying. Lucille's face went white. Her lawyer jumped up. "Objection! We haven't authenticated this recording." "Overruled," the judge said. "Continue." For the next hour, Julius methodically presented evidence. Emmy's recordings, financial documents showing Jasper's hidden accounts, text messages, social media posts, and witness statements. "And now," Julius said, "I'd like to call Emerson to the stand." Emmy walked forward, took the oath, and sat down. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice was clear. "Emerson, can you tell us about living with your father and stepmother?" "They told me if I wanted to see my mum, I had to lie." Emmy's words filled the silent courtroom. "They said she was crazy and sick and would hurt me, but they were the ones who hurt me." "How did they hurt you?" "Lucille would grab me, hit me sometimes. Dad never hit me, but he watched. And when I cried, he'd say it was my fault for not behaving." Jasper's lawyer stood. "Your Honour, the child has clearly been coached." "I have proof," Emmy interrupted, pulling up her sleeve to show fading bruises. "And pictures of older ones, and recordings." The judge leaned forward. "Recordings of what specifically?" "Of Dad telling me to lie in court, of Lucille hurting me, of Grandma saying they needed to keep me away from Mum because having a sick daughter was embarrassing." My mother made a choked sound from the back of the room. Julius played another recording, Jasper's voice filling the courtroom. "If you tell anyone what Lucille did, I'll make sure you never see your mother again. Is that what you want?" Jasper's face turned purple. He whispered furiously to his lawyer. "And now," Julius said, "I'd like to present evidence of financial fraud during the original custody hearing." He projected bank statements onto the courtroom screen. As you can see, Mr. Fox deliberately submitted outdated financial records while hiding substantial assets in private accounts. The judge's expression darkened as she reviewed the documents. "Furthermore," Julius continued, "Mrs. Harris Fox has been illegally billing insurance for therapy sessions with Emerson, despite clear ethical violations in counselling her own stepdaughter." Lucille burst into tears. Her lawyer looked increasingly uncomfortable. "Finally," Julius said, "I'd like to play one last recording. This one was made yesterday." My father's voice filled the room. "Rebecca, we have to tell the truth. We helped them take that child because you were worried about your social standing. We watched them hurt our granddaughter because you couldn't handle the gossip." My mother stood up abruptly, but the bailiff motioned her back down. The judge had heard enough. "Given the overwhelming evidence of abuse, fraud and conspiracy, I am immediately awarding full custody to Tabitha, with no visitation rights for the father or stepmother pending criminal investigation." She wasn't finished. "Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division regarding the fraud allegations. Bailiff, please take Mrs. Harris Fox into custody for insurance fraud and child abuse." Lucille screamed as the bailiff approached. Jasper tried to intervene but was quickly restrained. "Mom!" Emmy ran to me as chaos erupted in the courtroom. I held her close, watching as Lucille was handcuffed and Jasper was served with federal fraud charges. My mother tried to approach us, but Julius stepped between us. "My client has a restraining order ready to file. I suggest you leave." Later, in Julius's office, Emmy asked, "Is it really over?" "The custody part is," Julius said gently. "The criminal cases will take longer." My phone buzzed with messages. Laurel. "Lucille's being booked now, no bail." News alert. Local therapist arrested for insurance fraud and child abuse. Unknown number. "You've destroyed this family." My mother from a new number. I blocked the last one without responding. Emmy squeezed my hand. "Can we go home now?" Home, where she was safe, where no one could hurt her. "Yes, baby, let's go home." As we left, I caught a glimpse of Jasper being led to a police car, his perfect life crumbling around him. He looked up, met my eyes, and finally understood. He'd never truly known what I was capable of. None of them had. The morning newspaper lay on our kitchen table, its headlines stark and bold. "Local executive pleads guilty to financial fraud." Below it, a smaller headline, "Ex-wife and daughter's testimony, key to conviction." Emmy poured cereal into her bowl, glancing at the paper. "Dad took a plea deal?" "Yes, 8 years plus restitution." I pushed the paper aside. "How do you feel about that?" She stirred her cereal thoughtfully. "Relieved. I don't have to testify again." My phone buzzed. Laurel sending updates. "Lucille's sentencing today. DA expects 5 to 7 years for child abuse and fraud." Emmy's therapist, Dr. Sarah, had helped us process each development as it came. "It's okay to have complicated feelings," she told Emmy. "They're still your family, even if they hurt you." The doorbell rang. Emmy tensed, an automatic response we were working on. "It's just Julius," I assured her, checking the security camera we'd installed. With the final paperwork, Julius spread documents across our kitchen table. "Jasper's assets have been frozen. The trust fund we set up for Emmy is secure. He can't touch it." "And Lucille's therapy license?" "Permanently revoked. She'll never practice again." Emmy finished her cereal and grabbed her backpack. "Mum, can Zoe come over after school today?" "Of course." I watched her head for the door, noting how her shoulders no longer hunched with tension. After she left, Julius handed me one last envelope. "Your mother's lawyer sent this. Another attempt at reconciliation." I turned the envelope over in my hands. "Did you read it?" "Yes. She's offering to testify against your father in exchange for access to Emmy." "Still trying to manipulate everything." I dropped the unopened letter into the shredder. How's the civil suit going? The school district is settling. They're implementing new abuse detection protocols and paying for Emmy's therapy through college. My phone lit up with a text from Emmy. Grandpa's at school. Security stopped him. I was already grabbing my keys when another text came through. It's okay. Principal called police. They're taking him away. I'm safe. Julius made some calls while I drove to the school. By the time I arrived, my father was in custody for violating the restraining order. Emmy sat in the principal's office, looking more angry than scared. He wanted to give me a letter from Grandma. I didn't take it. You did exactly right, I told her. That evening, we sat on our back porch swing, sharing a pizza, our Friday tradition now. Emmy's friend Zoe was inside, picking a movie for them to watch. Mum, Emmy's voice was quiet. Do you ever miss how things were before, when we were all a family? I miss the family I thought we had, I answered honestly. But I don't miss living a lie. Me neither. She leaned against my shoulder. Dr. Sarah says it's okay that I still love Dad sometimes, even after everything. She's right. But I love our new life more. Just us, and Laurel and Julius and Zoe and everyone who actually cares. Inside, my phone rang. Julius again. The DA's office called. Your mother's being investigated for perjury. Apparently, your father's been talking. Let them sort it out themselves, I said. We're done being their collateral damage. After hanging up, I watched Emmy and Zoe laugh over something on their phones, the sound carrying through the open window. Real laughter, not the careful, measured kind Emmy used to use in Jasper's house. The mail had brought another letter from the prison where Lucille was serving her sentence. Like all the others, it went straight into the shredder. We didn't need her apologies or explanations. Movie's starting, Emmy called from inside. Come on, Mum. I joined the girls in the living room where they'd built a blanket fort, something Lucille would have never allowed. Emmy's art covered the walls, her violin practice sheets scattered across the coffee table. Signs of a real home, not a staged one. The local news played quietly on my phone. Local society couple faces new charges in custody fraud case. My parents' mugshots filled the screen. I turned it off. Mom? Emmy held out a piece of pizza. You're thinking too hard again. Sorry, baby. I took the pizza and settled into our worn, comfortable couch, so different from Jasper's expensive leather ones. They had tried to bury us in their perfect, poisonous world. Instead, we'd built something real from the ashes of their lies, something honest and messy and completely ours. Emmy snuggled closer as the movie started. Outside, a police siren wailed, probably taking my father to jail. But in here, in our fortress of truth and pizza and blanket forts, we were untouchable. We were free.